It's time for a crossover battle. Welcome to Crossover Battle, where universes collide, combat philosophies clash, and victory is decided not by who hits hardest, but by who understands the fight. Today's matchup isn't about endgame power scaling, it isn't about world-ending techniques or final forms. It's about experience versus instinct, teamwork versus impulse, and most importantly, understanding the assignment. On one side, four warriors bound by trauma, survival, and relentless forward momentum. Fighters forged in life or death combat, where hesitation means death and mercy is a luxury. On the other, a shinobi whose entire career has been built on deception, restraint, and turning raw talent into disciplined soldiers. Tanjiro Kamado, Nezuko Kamado, Zenitsu, Agatsuma Inosuke, Hashibira versus Kakashi Hatake. The setting isn't a battlefield, it's a lesson, the bell test. Let's break it down. The Demon Slayer team, power forged through survival. The Demon Slayer team represents raw potential sharpened by constant danger. Their strength doesn't come from training academies or structured missions. It comes from surviving encounters that should have killed them. Tanjiro Kamado is the emotional and tactical core. His heightened sense of smell allows him to detect intent, hostility, fear, and openings before they visually appear. Tanjiro adapts quickly, analyzes patterns mid-fight, and prioritizes protecting others over personal victory. He learns fast, but he hasn't learned patience. Nezuko Kamado is pure unpredictability. Her demonic physiology grants her immense strength, rapid regeneration, and resistance to lethal damage. She doesn't rely on refined technique. She overwhelms opponents through explosive movement, raw power, and instinctive violence. When unleashed, she forces enemies onto the defensive immediately. Zenitsu Agatsuma exists in two extremes. Conscious, he hesitates, overthinks, and freezes. Unconscious, he becomes one of the fastest strikers on the field. Thunder breathing allows him to close distance in an instant, delivering devastating single-hit attacks that end fights before they begin. Inosuke Hashibira is chaos given form. His erratic movement, flexible blades, and self-taught combat style make him difficult to read. He ignores pain, adapts his body unnaturally, and thrives in close-range brutality. Inosuke doesn't strategize. He dominates through pressure. Together, they are lethal, but they share a flaw. They fight like survivors, not like a unit being tested. Kakashi Hatake. The test is the trap. Kakashi Hatake doesn't need overwhelming force to win. He needs time, observation, and mistakes. As a jonin, Kakashi's greatest weapon is situational control. He understands terrain, psychology, and pacing at a level his opponents rarely recognize until it's too late. The bell test was never about taking bells. It was about recognizing what the bells represent. Kakashi begins every engagement by denying certainty. Shadow clones distort numbers. Substitution jutsu turns confirmed hits into illusions. Smoke, elevation, and blind spots break momentum. And then there's the Sharingan. Kakashi doesn't just react, he predicts. He reads breathing patterns, muscle tension, and intent before attacks are fully committed. Against inexperienced fighters, this allows him to dismantle confidence piece by piece. Against the Demon Slayer team, Kakashi doesn't rush. He lets them reveal who they are. The fight, momentum meets misdirection. The test begins. Inosuke charges immediately. He doesn't hesitate. He never does. Blades swing wide, cutting through terrain as he barrels forward. Nezuko follows, leaping from cover with crushing force. Zenitsu freezes, then forces himself to move. Tanjiro holds back, reading the air, sensing something wrong. Kakashi vanishes. Attacks connect with logs, with smoke, with empty space. Inosuke roars, slashing harder. Nezuko smashes the ground, collapsing terrain. Zenitsu launches forward in a lightning-fast burst. A perfect strike. The target dissolves. Tanjiro's expression changes. They aren't fighting an enemy, they're chasing shadows. Kakashi appears behind them briefly, just long enough to be seen, then disappears again. The team turns. Too late. Another substitution, another clone. Their momentum becomes their weakness. Kakashi begins separating them. Zenitsu is drawn away first, isolated by terrain and auditory disruption. Before he can slip into unconscious focus, a subtle genjutsu locks his movement. He doesn't fall, but he's neutralized. Inosuke pushes deeper, chasing Kakashi aggressively. That's exactly what Kakashi wants. The terrain turns against him. Earth-style restraints bind his legs mid-strike. Inosuke fights through it, but time is lost. Nezuko lands hits, real ones. Kakashi is forced to acknowledge her strength as she closes distance faster than expected, but he doesn't counterattack. He redirects, substitutes, uses her aggression to reposition her away from the bells. Tanjiro adapts faster than expected. He begins begins issuing commands, calls regroup points, warns of substitutions. His leadership sharpens, but it's late. Kakashi reveals the bells intentionally, the team charges together, and that's the final lesson. Kakashi immobilizes them all at once. Earth rises, shadows bind, clones collapse inward. Perfect timing, perfect spacing. The bells remain untouched. Analysis: why the bell test favors Kakashi. This matchup was never about combat potential. In a direct battle, the Demon Slayer team is terrifying. Their speed, strength, and endurance could overwhelm many Jonin-level opponents. Nezuko's regeneration alone changes the dynamics of attrition, but the bell test isn't a fight to the death. It's a test of restraint. The Demon Slayer team fails because they never question the objective. They assume victory means domination. Kakashi exploits that assumption relentlessly. Inosuke attacks too directly. Zenitsu hesitates too long. Nezuko commits fully without strategy. Tanjiro understands too late. Kakashi doesn't need to defeat them physically. He defeats them mentally. Given time, training, and coordination, the Demon Slayer team could pass the bell test. But as they are now, Kakashi Hatake wins. The bells stay with the Jonin. That's the crossover battle. Do you think the Demon Slayer team could pass the bell test with better preparation? Or is Kakashi's experience simply insurmountable? Drop your thoughts in the comments and tell us who should fight next. Until next time, stay sharp.